Aaron, do you have any gifts in mind for your former team if they give you some help on Saturday night?
Well, I gave him a lot of gifts over the years, so this is payback.
Aaron, not having DK, maybe how does it affect the offense?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we've had a lot of different guys with ailments over the season. We're in a lot of different personnel groupings, so I'm sure Art will have a good plan for all that. And obviously, we have more opportunities for Marquez and Adam, and hopefully Roman as well.
Is that kind of the upside of having so many different combinations? Is that it's not necessarily overly reliant on one particular player?
No, we haven't been. Yeah, we haven't been overly reliant. I mean, obviously, DK has drawn a lot of attention all season long. There's been a lot of doubles on him, so it's given other guys opportunities. But when there's been a one-on-ones for DK, we've made a lot of plays. So have to be other people stepping up.
Cam talked this morning about it being frustrating during a player suspension. They can't be in the building, that they kind of lose their support system. How do you kind of support DK during these 2 weeks?
Yeah, the interesting thing to think about, a lot of times when there's been suspensions in my past, it's been substance related. And I feel like those guys need the stability and the structure of being part of the group. I've never believed that excommunicating somebody from the kind of the comfort and the foundation of the locker room is never a great thing. So I'd love to see them look at that and adjust it, especially substance related, because that's something we need, your support system. And I feel like there's been guys over the years that I've been around that would have benefited more from being able to still be a part of the locker room.
You've been on that visitor sideline a lot in Detroit over the years. Has that fan ever heckled you or gotten on you in any particular way?
Probably. I mean, I don't have a real relationship with any of those fans, kind of by sight. But there's always a lot of different things that are said. Some things that are benign and some things that aren't. I think there's a mindset that you pay for a ticket, you can say whatever the hell you want. I think there should be some code of conduct. Obviously, that was intentional, and I think there was some celebration afterwards on his part. Obviously, don't condone what DK did, but I understand. There's been a lot of crazy comments said my way over the years, and the truth is that would never happen face to face. That would, even some of the most hated people that hate me the most in the cities that I've played against over the years, especially in FC North, it's always pretty cordial when you see some of those people out and about. But in that setting, there's a lot of things that are said. There's two sides to every story, and I support DK. I'll continue to support DK, and disappointed that happened.
Have you noticed it more get out of hand in the social media age with cell phones, videos?
Well, I think there's been a lot of great things that have come from social media, from fantasy football. When I first got in the league, that stuff was kind of more on the fringe, and obviously there's the whole gambling part of it too. That's brought more eyes to our sport, and I think a lot of that stuff is really good for the sport. Now, at the same time, as you're seeing parts of society erode, shall we say, maybe the conduct has changed a little bit over the years. Now, I'm all for a good trash talk, and the Browns got the dog pound. They got a great fan base. I love the banter with the fans. I was bantering with the fan in the stands the other day. Who was yelling a bunch of stuff at me, and his voice cracked. I was teasing about that, but there's a line. I think there's a line that it shouldn't be crossed, and you don't hear a lot of that in playing at Lambeau all the years. Those are some of the nicest fans you could possibly imagine. You're a visiting fan. You walk around the Lombardi there. You find your way into a tailgate. You probably have a beer in your hand, maybe PBR and a brat. It's not the same everywhere across the league.
Do you remember playing against Deion Sanders?
Yeah, I didn't throw him a pick, thankfully. But he was playing in Baltimore in 2005 when we went down there on Monday night, and I came in the game. We were down. So we were down 41-3, and I had a fun exchange with him between the third and fourth quarters. And luckily, I kept it tight. We only lost 51-3.
So your thoughts on playing this Sunday?
Yeah, I mean it's part of it. A lot of these guys in here and out there, I've played with relatives or fathers against them. Baltimore or Cincinnati has Chris Jenkins' son. I played with his uncle. Tampa has Antoine Winfield Jr. I played against his dad for a number of years. Obviously, Joey in here, played against his dad. So it's fun because it means I'm still playing. I've followed Shador's career. I mean, any football fan that watched him go from Jackson to Boulder, and that being kind of a former Pac-12 school, obviously was pulling for him. And there's a tough draft slide. Obviously, much longer wait than mine was, but it seems like he's been patient and worked on his craft, and he's been playing pretty good the last few weeks.
Aaron, how have you seen Roman handle not getting a helmet the last couple of weeks? What's your trust in him?
I've had conversations with him. Like he's kind of still a rookie. He didn't really play it all last year, and he's come in and improved. And I think the most important thing for a young player is the mental part of it, and not just learning the X's and O's and becoming a master of your craft, but it's dealing with the adversity that happens to everybody at every age throughout your entire career. It's tougher when you're a younger player because it feels a lot more ominous and a lot more, foundational, where it can kind of crack the stability that you feel. But I feel like he's handled himself really well. He's had good practices, and now he's going to get another opportunity, so I'm excited for him.
Aaron, what's it like to have TJ back at practice, even just from an intangible perspective?
TJ is one of our leaders, so I love having him around. Not sure what his status is going to be, but just his presence is good for our team.
Aaron, you guys have run a lot more 11 personnel looks the last 2 weeks. How much of that is the growth of the wide receiver room with guys like MVS and Thielen, or versus just how much that is matchup specific to the Dolphins and the Eagles?
A little bit of both, I would say. I said it last week. When we went to Ireland and kind of introduced Spencer being the sixth offensive lineman, that has kind of gone around the league. And as it goes around the league, people are figuring out how to kind of attack it best. And so you got to adapt and adjust. And one of our adjustments has been more 11 personnel. Obviously, that's coincided with MVS and Adam playing more snaps for us, and the stability that they bring from an X's and O standpoint, and a veteran presence and experience. So it's been good for us. We've been productive in it. But, Art's always going to mix it up, unconventional warfare, and it's just not as many snaps, with Spencer as a sixth offensive lineman.
It's a little bit of a what if, but if the Packers do win Saturday night and you guys clinch the AFC North, do you want to play on Sunday? I mean, how do you kind of approach that from a division of labor standpoint?
Well, it's an 8 o'clock game, so by the time that game finishes, I'll be sleeping, hopefully. So I'm preparing to play and excited about playing.
Have you ever been in that situation before, where your fate could be determined before you step on the field Sunday?
Yeah, probably. I think that most of those situations in a penultimate week, I've ended up playing. So it hasn't even been a question regardless of what happens. If you're playing the afternoon game or the Sunday night game, in a game that affects your fate isn't earlier in the day. I mean, I'm sure that's happened. I'd have to go back and search the memory banks there. But you just, when it's the penultimate week, you expect to play. Last week, was obviously a little different story, but usually at that point because the games are slotted based on, the effect that a win-loss has on other teams.
Guys, 2 more. Aaron, you hit it off with Ben pretty early with Skoranek. What's your reaction to him being a Pro Bowler and the way he plays on special teams?
It's one of the worst things that could happen to him. I love Ben. I mean, Ben and I became fast friends from the start, and really, really happy for him. That's an interesting, slot when you're kind of the nominated Pro Bowl teamer, because so much of it, when it comes down to that, is name recognition, and then it's the Pro Bowl in general. Guys get in, a year after they probably should be in, and maybe stay a year after they probably shouldn't be voted in. But for a guy like Ben, it's huge for him, moving forward, the recognition that he deserves. Obviously he's made a name for himself in teams and made a ton of plays for us the entire year. So it's great for him. He works his ass off. He cares about it. I haven't been exposed really the majority of my 21-year career on a lot of teamers. It just wasn't really a thing in Green Bay. We didn't have like specific guys who would make the roster and be merely a team, first and foremost a teamer. So when I came here and there was multiple guys who were kind of in that role, JP being one of them, him being one of them, Killebrew. Obviously it's fun to to have those guys in your squad who care so deeply about it, because we know, and I've been a part of, unfortunately, a few of those games where special teams makes a difference, whether it's the end of the season or in the playoffs. And to have guys like that who care so deeply about teams is huge for our locker room and for our team.
You're
Last
outside
one
of
here.
the wrist. How's your body sort of held up during the, you talked about it having to warm up to the season. I mean, how do you feel in mid-December compared to maybe even a few years ago?
I'd say probably the last 5 or 6 years, I kind of Benjamin Button this thing compared to some of the other guys where guys just kind of hanging on. For whatever reason, I feel like I get stronger as the season goes on. And I think part of that is the cold weather. I always say that the cold weather slows everybody else but me down, so I'm going my normal speed, but it's slightly faster than the other guys who are slowed down by a field or by the cold or whatever. But, the wrist is still healing, but everything else feels really good.